Hello everybody. Welcome to today's video, and I'm going to be doing something differently. I am going to be doing some 3-card picks, but I'm mostly using this video as a Q&A and talking about all of my services and everything like that, because I know not everyone goes on the website. So I'm going to be talking about all the things that I offer and just clearing a bunch of stuff up. And I also asked you guys on Instagram what you wanted to know about working with me. I'm going to be answering those questions as well. I'm going to be talking about the tarot readings, so tarot specific, that I offer right now. So the lowest bracket, if you will, as far as readings are concerned, is single question. So if you have one question, like a quick yes or no, should I or shouldn't I, or when is something going to happen, I do have some questions that I have blacklisted completely, so I will not answer questions about adultery. I will not answer questions that are related to the lottery, and I won't answer questions about like when am I going to find true love, because it can't be answered with a single card reading. I hate to break it to you, but anyone who says they can read that with cards is blowing smoke. So those are the 3 questions that I don't entertain with single question readings. I also don't do anything severely health related. So if you have a diagnosis and you want me to look at something, I need to do that in a one-on-one session. I can't do it with cards. Like it can't be read with tarot. So that is the limitation around single card readings, or single question readings rather, no matter how many cards it takes. But those are $13 a piece. You get a photo and written email, including all of the information about your answer. So that's it. It's like you get one question, I send an email answer, you get a photo of the cards I've pulled for you. The second tarot offering that I have is tarot spreads. My tarot spreads run from $19 to $49, depending on what you're getting. So there's a little bit for everybody. These come with an email description, like a list of the questions I asked with the card that popped up for you. It also comes with an audio recording of me doing the reading for you, as well as a photo. So I will let you know, tarot spreads are not good for nuanced situations. So if it's something where you need to ask me 15 follow-up questions, then I would not recommend a tarot spread for that. What you can do is look at the set list of questions that I have available, and if those resonate with what you're looking to, the information you're looking to get, then it makes sense for you. So I have messages from source. That is the smallest reading. It's just 3 cards, pretty general. A couple different love readings. I offer Celtic cross readings, and I also do a covering all your bases reading. So it's literally every area of your life. That's what I offer tarot wise. The decks that I'm using, or some of them at least, I wanted to give you guys a little peek on the decks that I use on my Patreon channel. I don't use these on my YouTube, so I'm going to today just to show you guys some of the exclusive decks that I save for Patreon. I don't mind doing the 3-card picks just to show you, but let's go ahead and do one of those now. This is an oracle deck, so you can ask for guidance or clarity, ask a specific question if you want. Okay, first card coming up is imagination. So what are you thinking about it? What are you dreaming about it? What are you focusing on at this time? Your imagination is either helping you create something, or it might be perpetuating some fears. It just depends on where you're at right now when it comes to your imagination. So use it wisely. Card number 2, we have distortion. The way you're thinking about it or perceiving it is not actually the way it is. So there seems to be some missing information, or you might need to get somebody to clarify your situation for you or reflect it back to you. That can be anybody. It can be a friend that has your best interest in mind. It can be a therapist or a family member, or I mean, anyone who is supportive of you is going to help you find clarity. So this is just reminding you that it's not as it seems on the surface. So just remind yourself of that. And that's going to help you see through the noise, because this looks like a lot of old trauma, old experiences, old and negative expectations that are not allowing you to see things clearly. So a lot of the time we have to kind of cut through the mud and see through to the other side. And card number 3, we have air. So this is about thought, the way you're seeing things, the way you're thinking about things, very similar to imagination. But this is creative. This is more rational, logical, reasonable, looking at thought forms exclusively. Not, and this is, considering imagination is where you're building from, this is where you're receiving information from. So they're inverted. This one is, I'm going to build this in the astral. I want to create this. Whereas the air card is, this is the filter that I have coming through about this situation. And that's what is making all of the difference right now. So I would work on your lens, work on your filter, work on the perception that you have about the situation. And that's where you're going to find either the bugs that need to be healed or your power. So whichever side you're on, it's probably going to be on the side of, there's either a kink you need to work out, or there's something where it's giving you a lot of support, a lot of power. This is where you're getting your strength at this time. Okay, now let's go ahead and talk about Patreon. I offer a couple different things on Patreon. So the lowest tier on Patreon right now is $2 a month, $2. Literally. And I do sign-specific readings with different card decks that I have available to me. And so you get sign-specific readings every single week. They come out on Friday unless the love readings come out on Friday. So for February 1st landed on a Friday. So I pushed the weekly reading to Saturday just because it's a lot to unload in one day. And everything comes out, the love readings come out on the 1st, and the sign-specific readings come out every Friday, like I said, unless the love readings come out on Friday. And so it's for Sunday to Saturday of the following week. So I make sure to get those out early so you can kind of see what's coming up a few days ahead or a couple days ahead. So it comes out sometime on Friday or Saturday, but I'm pretty consistent with Fridays. And I make sure to make that a priority just so that everyone can prepare for their week. So I really like to make sure everyone has what they need for the upcoming week. So that you can watch your sun, moon, rising, Mars, or Venus, whatever resonates with you. Now, the love readings, this is the second tier. You get the weekly readings, the sign-specific readings, but then you also get sign-specific love readings, and those ones are big. I try to make the variety really, really good. So sometimes I'll focus on what are you manifesting? What's your process in the relationship? Other times I'll focus more on your partner. What's going on with them? How can you manifest them? Or who is your current partner and what are they going through? So it's good if you're in partnership. It's also good if you're manifesting partnership. And they can help you tune in to the right things for yourself and for the relationship. So it's all for the purpose of healing and moving through healthy relationships to the best of your ability and using spiritual tools along the way and just being present with your own emotions. So I do my best to make sure that those readings have a lot of variety, because I can't just do the same love reading over and over again. I want to make sure that I'm giving a lot of good stuff for people who are supporting me. So That second tier is $22 a month, and so you get like 10 hours of additional content. So including all of the love readings, the weekly readings, all of that good stuff. So everything comes out on the 1st, and Patreon also charges on the 1st. So that's why I make sure all the love readings come out that day. And I would also recommend that if you're watching this like at the end of a month, so if you're watching this on like February 26th, I would say, nope, don't sign up on the 26th, wait until March 1st, because otherwise you're going to get double charged. So I just wanted to let you guys know it's better to wait until the beginning of a month, or like that first week. The second week is even fine because you have the rest of the weekly readings that you can get. My recommendation is to not sign up if you're like nearing the end of the month, like the last few days, because then you're going to get double charged. The last tier, and this is the big one because you do get a session with me every month. That's $111, but you get everything for like half the price. And you get a one-on-one hour-long session with me every single month. So that's the best way to like really keep up the work that you're doing, is to work with me consistently. I'll get to that when I go to the one-on-one sessions, but that's also something that you can get on Patreon if you want all of the videos as well. So those are the 3 tiers on Patreon. I hope I explained myself well. If you have any more questions about that, please drop it in the comment section. And don't forget, all of the links for this I will include in the description box below. But it's just patreon.com/onyxhealing. That is the address for that. Okay, let's do another 3-card pick. This is a really lovely tarot deck that I just enjoy using so much. So go ahead, ask a question, ask for guidance, whatever it is that you need right now. Okay, card number 1. We have the 4 of Pentacles. So withholding energy, withholding money. It's all about withholding. Whatever that energetic or material resource is dependent on whatever situation or circumstance you have going on. But watch yourself when it comes to poverty mindset or thinking that something is not as available as it actually is. That is not gonna, it's just not gonna serve you that well. Try to come from a place of abundance, try to come from a place of there is enough, and that's gonna help you take pressure off of whatever it is that you might be suffocating through a lack mentality. And then card number 2, we have the Queen of Swords, independence, independent thinking, clear-minded. I think that it's very important for you to take good care of your crown right now and make sure you have a lot of crown chakra ownership so that you don't get bogged down in other people's thoughts, opinions, behaviors, what have you. Card number 3, we have the 7 of Swords. So you're trying to fit a whole lot of stuff in places that it may not fit. So I think that the solution here is to kind of pull everything out, get everything out on the table and start rebuilding from scratch, just in terms of what you have to work with at this time, what is working for you, what's not working for you, lay everything out and map everything out for yourself. So now we're going to talk about individual sessions, working with me one-on-one. Right now I offer 3 different time frames, although you can book longer if you do want. The first is 30 minutes. That is $65, and I either get on the phone with you or we do a Zoom call if you're international. The second option is a 60-minute session. If you haven't worked with me before, I strongly recommend that you do a full hour and not 30 minutes. Most people run out of time and get really frustrated that they can't get all their questions answered. So that is just giving you a heads up on that. It's better to do a full hour than 30 minutes if you're a first-time client. Just that seems to be the consensus among other people. A full hour is $100 even, US dollars, and then 90 minutes is $135, and anything beyond that is an additional $35. So like if you wanted to do 2 full hours, then it would be $170. So that's I've had, you know, like 2.5 hour, 3 hour sessions before. So now the way that these start, and I've done a video on this, is I start with an energy check. So that is basically where I do all the cold psychic reading and see what's going on in your energetic body. I help you clear out any blocks that are sitting in your chakras. I help you just do all of the heavy lifting, and I give you a clearing if you need it. That's just something that I do in the beginning of the session before we even get started. And a lot of the time, my clients find that that beginning process, the energy check, is one of the most important pieces, and it is something that people need. Like after you start working with me, it's kind of like, oh, I need an energy check, and that's going to help clear up, you know, 70% of what I have going on. And then we go into questions. So that's why I recommend that you get a full hour if you're a first-time client, or longer, because the energy check could take a while. If you have a lot of stuff going on, more than likely your energy check is going to take longer. Like if you're going through a major transition, like a divorce or grief or a breakup, that can, I'm doing more work with you. So just keep that in mind. Over time, if you work with me a lot, then they get shorter and shorter, and we can just dive into whatever questions you have. But just keep that in mind if you're contemplating getting a session with me. Now, one of the questions that I have, I remember I had a client who booked a session with me, but I guess was disappointed that I didn't use tarot. And here's my whole thing. I was pulling tarot the entire time with this client, but I don't think that it serves you for me to just tell you every card that I pull and to explain imagery. That's a waste of your time. I would rather give you all of your time to actually talk about important stuff, not describe imagery on a card. It does not make sense. It doesn't translate well during a session. I would rather just give you the yes, no, up, down, left, right answer than describe to you what the card looks like. So that, I'm holding firm on that. I do occasionally get someone who wants me to do a tarot reading during a session, and I'm totally game for that. I just want you to know that if you're on a call with me or you're having a session with me, I'm using a lot of different tools. So I might use a pendulum sometimes, I might just do a cold read sometimes, I might just go with my intuitive hit on something sometimes, I might be pulling tarot the entire time, I might be using a script sometimes. So I'm doing a lot of things that you can't see. I just want you to know that if you're like, oh, I was expecting a tarot reading, I am doing it the entire time. So just wanted to, and then there's other clients that I don't pull a single card. So that's just kind of the nature of my work. I use whatever tool works in the moment. Okay, one last thing that I want to mention is that during a one-on-one session with me, I start with the energy check. Once we do that, I move into what would you like to talk about today? That's how I phrase it. Then you're kind of guiding what you want me to look at. So then the ball's in your court. I'll answer anything that you want, anything that your heart desires. So then it's free and open to play, essentially. So there's infinite things that we can talk about. There's infinite tools that I have that I can give to you. And we just go in whichever direction you're wanting to take the session. So that's where things really open up. And one of the things that I hear people say a lot, so I'm just going to address it now. After I get done with the energy check, people say sometimes, I'm open to hearing anything that you're picking up on. And the answer to that is, I already told you everything that I'm picking up on. We did that during the energy check. That's when I do the cold psychic reading. So that is what I do. That's the whole point, is to give you information that I'm picking up on. But the rest of the session, I'm only going to give you information that you care about. I'm not going to waste your time and start saying a bunch of random vague stuff. That doesn't seem to be a good way to spend a session. And I'm all about efficiency, and I want to make sure that I'm bringing you value. So I would rather just help you problem solve and do the energetic work and do the healing work that you need to do in order to feel satisfied at the end and feel like you're in a better position when we get off the phone than when you get on the phone with me. All right, friends, let's do another 3-card pick. So this is actually quite hilarious deck. I love using it. Sometimes the cards are a little bit offensive, so hopefully you have a good sense of humor. But you can ask, these are just one-word cards with a little bit of imagery, so you can ask whatever you want or just pick one. Card number 1, Disney. You might be over planning or maybe romanticizing something a bit. This is also equivalent to the 7 of Swords. So there's something about the way that you're moving through this, or something about the way that you're approaching this that kind of needs to be reevaluated. So just check yourself. Are you focusing on what's actually being done, or are you focusing on the reality of someone's actions? Are you focusing on what your ideal circumstance would be, or are you focusing on reality? It's just about where is your focus and how are you perceiving the situation? Is it supporting you or is it harming you? Then we have Disco. So this is the 7 of Pentacles, and this, it's kind of like you want to watch yourself for burnout. So the 7 of Pentacles is like planting many seeds, right? But you can see this is kind of referencing zombies, and I'm reading that as being burnout. So if you are in a space where you're feeling like you're doing so much, you have 10 plates spinning, you have all this stuff going on, you're trying to get things done, and you're spinning your wheels in the mud, that is because you need to take something off your plate, you need to decompress, you need to chill out, rest, relax, recoup. And that's going to be really important for you at this time. Card number 3, we have Money. Okay, so watch yourself for poverty mindset. That's really, really important. Similar, if you got the 4 of Pentacles earlier, then this is especially true, because you can see these people are like dying of starvation, you know, no money to be had, the city's burnt down. But really, this is about moving forward when it comes to your perception of abundance and mindset. And that's true with everything, not just money. So money is a great example of how you can really open up your abundance channels, but it's also in terms of resources. It's also in terms of like a new place to live, or a good living situation, or relationships. Anything that you have a scarcity mentality around, including time, it has to start with the way you're considering the situation and the way you're considering and looking at the resources that you do have. So just realize how much power you have when it comes to this. And this is also the 6 of Swords in a normal deck. So this is reminding you that it's about forward movement, it's about progression, it's about moving out of a space where you're it's about moving out of the headspace where you're kind of trapped in lack mentality. You're moving on, moving up, gaining more of an abundance mindset. That's where I would start first. That's where I would put your focus right now, is where are there gaps in your thinking that are contributing to a negative reality. And last but not least, we're going to be talking about the questions that you guys have asked me and some common questions that I get that I didn't answer along the way. So first thing, how does this differ from traditional therapy or normal therapy? And I pretty much already answered that in the portion where I am talking about one-on-one sessions. But in a nutshell, this differs because I don't want to know anything before I read you. So it's one of those things I'll let people know, like, I'm not going to ask how you're doing. I don't want to know how you're doing before I do the cold read. So I actually go in completely blind, and it's very much geared towards us working on whatever it is that you want to work on. It's not about what I think you should be working on. This is really about what problems do you want to solve. And I have a really strong emphasis on ethics, and I want to support you to the best of my ability. So I do that however possible, and I just think that as far as the energetic piece, it moves a lot faster than normal therapy. I don't need a backstory. I don't need your 10-year history. I don't need to know your origin story. Although that may come up, it's something where I can usually see what's going on before you even tell me. So we do work really quickly, and then I do a whole bunch of different things. And so I think that my work is way more geared towards guiding you, helping you, and weaving in a lot of the spiritual components. Like, you know, sometimes we have to do karmic work. Sometimes we have to do work around past lives. Sometimes we have to read lots of different stuff. Sometimes I do Akashic record work. Sometimes I'm talking about people who have graduated from Earth, and that's definitely not something that you get in a normal therapy session. So that would be the biggest difference, is the spiritual component and the speed of it. So aside from, you know, just working on chakras, there's a lot of it that moves a lot faster because of the energetic work that I do. Now, do I offer in-person sessions? Now, back in the day when I was a baby psychic, I would make house calls and I would show up to people's houses and do readings. Currently, because I'm online, I no longer feel safe doing house calls. I don't currently have office space, so all of my one-on-one sessions are virtual as of now, although office space is something that I'm planning on having in the future. It's just not in the cards for me right now. Having office space is a really big commitment, so for now it just doesn't really match, it doesn't really align with where I'm at currently in this work that I'm doing. So one day, but that day is not today. Now, here's a good question. If someone's future is bad, do you tell them? Now, let me clarify. If someone doesn't just have a bad future, that's not a thing. Like, if you were to ask me, like, who's going to have a good life and who's going to have a bad life, I could not tell you, because so much is dependent on the decisions that you're making. Now, if you say, or if you ask me, Sydney, I'm contemplating doing this thing, and here are my two options. Which one should I do? If one option is dangerous or bad or will result in something unsavory, I will tell you. But at the end of the day, if you move forward and make that decision, then that's your decision and there's nothing I can do about it. So in essence, it's like, I can tell you if you're going to have a bad future, but it's usually based on a decision, not an overall trajectory, because there's too many decisions being made for that to be concrete. And I think that's one thing that people forget about psychic readings, is that you have the power to change the future. So it makes it fluid, and it's through the decisions that you make that put you in a position to have something really fulfilling and satisfying, or something really limiting and destructive. So yes, if something bad is on the horizon, or if there's a nasty person in your space, I'm gonna let you know, but it's not like an absolute. You have a lot of power and sway in the direction of your life. Now, last question I will answer: how does a mentorship work with me? Or you, whatever. It's not, okay, so I don't have a fully like formed and structured class right now. That's something I'm still working out, a lot of the kinks. I'm working out a lot of the bugs. It is not a fully formed idea yet. It's it's tough. Like, that whole teaching thing is hard work. So it's something that I would say, like, don't blow up my email right now asking, you know, what the deal is with mentorship, because the unfortunate answer is, like, I don't know yet. Like, I don't have a full plan yet. I know what I can do with certain people, and I've talked to certain people that are unique circumstances, but it's not something that's fully formulated yet. I have a lot of other projects that are like up in the air, and so I'm still figuring out the mentorship thing. I'm still working through a lot of it. So right now it's not something that I'm gonna, like, give a bunch of details about, just because it's, I would rather give you information when I actually know what to tell you and I know what info to give you. That's all I got for you there. Okay, so I'm just gonna pull some cards. Now, this is the Sovereign Oracle. I use this deck all the time. So this isn't one that I exclusively use on Patreon, or like the ones that I just show you, those are Patreon decks. I just wanted to give you guys a peek at them. But this deck, you guys probably know this one. I use it all the time. There's the word and then the 3 phrases that go along with it. So I'm just going to pull some of these, and you pay attention to whatever jumps out at you, whatever message you need to hear. Container. Be intentional about what or who you wish to show up in the space you have provided. Set the energy for the endeavor up front. Hold space for spirit and trust. Okay, so which one is jumping out to you there? Okay, let me pull another. Stimulus. It's time to actively seek out your new inspiration. Look to other arenas to find your aha. Do something novel to call in your muse. Try something new. It looks like things might be getting a little bit stale. So try to fix that. Then we also have movement. The moment calls for action. Release analysis paralysis. Dance with flow and experimentation. Step out past any boulders of fear, ambivalence, or judgment. The path beckons. Have no fear. If you knew you could not lose, what would you do? It requires action. You're not going to get clarity from thought. You guys know I say that. It simply will not come, because your thoughts are just going to have you thinking about previous experiences, and what you're doing is carving a new future. Then we have resilience. Connect with purpose to shift feelings of overwhelm. Maintain stamina. Pace yourself. Remember to stretch before performing great feats. Okay, so stay diligent, stay the course. Don't give up halfway through. You have to pace yourself with this. Take your time. All right, last one. Foundation. Lay the concrete first. Establish patterns, create coherency and stability. Know that you deserve sustainability and allow it in. Okay, my friends, that is all that I have for you today. I certainly hope you have enjoyed this little Q&A session. I hope that this helps you in whatever way. And don't forget, if you have any questions that I haven't answered, you're welcome to check out my website. It will answer a lot of them probably, or you can drop your question in the comment section, and I might do another one of these if I get enough questions and if I feel like I've missed a bunch of information. So that's all I have for you today. I wish you nothing but the best, everybody, and I will talk to you later. Bye-bye.